Yahoo, my beautiful brothers and sisters, how are y'all doing? In this blissful moment, hope you all are enjoying it. Hope you all are integrating peace as much as you can in every moment. Hope you all are really just radiating love. Um, I felt the need to come on here and record a quick video. And life is good, yo. Life is good. It was funny because I opened up my computer, opened up the program that I use to make my videos, and it was already all set up for me. It wasn't a project that I left over from a previous video. It was just a new project, and it was like just ready for me to go. And I knew that the moment that I thought about coming on here to do this recording, this channeling, I knew I had to make it right in the moment. So here I am. I wanted to just talk a little bit about this year and really just want to congratulate all of you for the hard work that you have done, especially subconsciously, especially psychologically. You know, probably honestly, I'm sure a good handful of you probably feel like you probably got a little bit crazier this year. Probably felt like you probably have questioned your sanity this year, and there's good reason for that. It's been a crazy year. 2018 has been an absolute slobber knocker of a year as far as energies and what we had to transmute and this expansion of a deeper quality of ourselves that we are really starting to tap into. So we may embody what we may perceive as a higher image, but to embody this higher vibrations, higher frequency. Honestly, it's hard to put in words because I honestly feel like almost all words I use, are somehow limiting what they represent. I really do. Like all words that I use, I feel like they somehow limit and don't show like the fullness of whatever it is that they're trying to represent. Which I don't know if you've experienced this, but my language has been breaking down this year. I find that I will just go off into gibberish, and in my head it sounds right, but then I know that I'm speaking gibberish, and I really have to slow down and enunciate my words. And I've noticed that I don't know, just weird breakdowns in language. I've noticed that. Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just weird and crazy. But I really wanted to, like I said, congratulate everyone because 2018 has been one hell of a year. Now, I thought 2017 was one hell of a year. I think 2017, 2018 are similar as far as being intense years. And really, what I see as this wrap up of this collective dark night of the soul. That's really what I feel like 2017 to 2018 is, and I feel like 2019 is also continuing this wrap up of the collective dark night of the soul. But I think it's sort of like we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and there's going to be some of us that don't want to go towards the light. There's going to be some of us that want to stay or that want to go towards the light. There's going to be some people that don't even want to play in that game altogether and just want to go off into another realm. So you're going to see a lot of interesting developments next year. But 2017 and 2018, I feel like 2017, a lot of things happened. Like not that things didn't happen this year or events, but um, I'm saying more so in your personal lives. I felt like 2017, a lot of things happened. 2018, a lot of things happened, but it was inside. It was on the hush hush. It was a little bit quieter, which is why I feel like 2018 was a very psychologically difficult year. And which is funny because I personally kind of came into, I guess you could say, the brunt of my anxiety, and I'm open about this, my anxiety and my panic disorder. That was in 2017. This year, it's been relatively under control. I haven't had, to me, like serious panic attacks. Um, and I've been working through them. But it's been just because I haven't been having the panic attacks doesn't mean that, whatever it was that I felt like I had to panic about or whatever I was responding to, reacting to, didn't mean that that necessarily went away, but it allowed me to examine it in a different way, from a different perception, and I've used all of this year really to clear negative self-limiting beliefs, to clear um, doubts, fears, to overcome certain challenges. This year, I had a lot of firsts happen for me this year. I had my first poetry book published. I actually felt a lot more productive as far as YouTube. I have like I think already over 200 to 300 videos since um I guess it'll be like February or so. It's somewhere around that number. It's a high number. Of course, it helps that when you're doing horoscopes, you have 12 signs to do it for. But that's a funny thing because there's more than 12 signs. So, in another dimension, someone's probably doing like I don't know. I was the first number that came to mind, of course, was 24, but I thought 72, but which would be pretty intense. 72 signs. Could you believe that? 72 signs. But it's been a very interesting year for a lot of people, and like I said, it was a very psychological year. Actually, this next part is something that I was speaking to my partner about last night, and I told her that she's been having her own issues and stuff like that, and trying to really figure out her purpose. And I realized that in order for her to have the most organic experience as possible when it comes to discovering her purpose, is that I have to just hold space for her and be there for her. But I really can't force anything. I have to kind of allow her to come to it on her own, so it's as organic as possible. And that's really how this works. You can't, I think it's amazing how we have this rise of this spiritual awareness. Now you see we have different kinds of, spiritual coaches and of course all kinds of different people really assisting the collective on healing and moving forward and finding their purpose. But, really finding your purpose is definitely an inside journey. It's an inside job, it's an inside job. Really knowing what your purpose is. And purposes change. You gotta understand that. It's like I feel like if you happen to be listening to this right now and you don't know your purpose, know that your purpose has probably changed multiple times over the past few years. And that's okay. We think that the purpose is supposed to be like one sentence or one idea. No, your purpose comprises of multiple volumes. Okay, your purpose is, if you think about like a book or a novel or even like a magazine, your purpose comprises of multiple volumes or issues, right? It's not something that you're going to know overnight, figure out overnight. You're going to realize that your purpose was this entire journey. Your purpose wasn't necessarily to be the greatest star athletically in whatever sport you choose, or to be a world famous singer, or to be, a soldier, or to be a doctor, or to be an engineer, or to whatever it is, to be even a spiritual teacher, practitioner who does retreats in multiple cities around the world. Like, that could be your purpose for maybe a few years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, but it doesn't mean that that's what you came here to do exclusively. And this year, 2018, is a really huge pivot point towards a better day and really a new day. I've been struggling personally with the whole idea of routine and cycles because I feel like even no matter how big the cycle is, I feel like if I keep doing it enough times that I would eventually get tired of it, right? And it's kind of weird to see this. I am 27 years old now and have been observing, I guess you could say, society since, I was early and stuff like that as far as observing it. Maybe not the same way I do now, but observing, let's just say I've been observing society for 27 years, and then I took in information differently as a baby, right? Which allowed me to, tap into certain frequencies as we all did when we were children, and then we grow up, and then we kind of become calloused. We kind of become calcified and closed off to all these other senses. But lately, what we've had here since 2012 is this release of this calcification on certain centers within our being that are allowing us to tap into these other frequencies that we may see as foreign or alien, but truly they are a part of us the entire time. We have just created a society that allows us to dumb ourselves down to a point to where we cannot perceive these other realities, these other senses. In 2018, especially psychologically, has been particularly difficult because we have had Jupiter in Scorpio for much of the year. We've had a Mars retrograde as well in Aquarius, which deals with the mind, of course, and then of course we're into Capricorn. So this has to do with purpose. This has to do with even our collective purpose. But then you also have Jupiter in Scorpio, which is a very psychological sign as well. But it's about that. It's this emotional intelligence that comes with the Scorpio energy, and how really what's happening here is that a lot of people, and this is just me kind of plugging this in randomly. Your gut health affects your mental health. It really does. And I think what's happening with Scorpio, considering the area that it rules, down here, the private parts, the gonads, the testes, the ovaries, the lower regions, quote unquote, whatever. But the area right before, the gut and all this stuff right there, they play off of each other. And it's very important to have good health there because it does affect your mind. It really does. And what we have come to discover this year is that we have taken certain actions that we thought were great actions. We thought that they were just. We thought that they were the truth, and there was an element of truth to them. But what we're also learning now is that, we have to really dive deeper. We have to dive deeper into our experience. And, a lot of people are afraid of that journey. You got to understand, Jupiter in Scorpio is confronting all of these fears, anxieties that we perpetuate on ourselves, and also even the desires, and then even expanding upon, it's like, okay, so if I embark on this particular desire, where is this going to lead to? All of this is being calculated by us, our being. Now, we don't realize we're calculating it because a lot of this is subconscious, right? And we have angels and guides and beings and other places that are helping us to make these calculations. Then, based off of how things go, we make decisions. But Jupiter and Scorpio was about really kind of understanding on a deeper level the journey that we've been on, but also preparing for the new journey. Now that Jupiter is in Sagittarius, it's time for the new journey. What we're discovering is that a lot of people are still holding on to the old narrative. And then even people who are trying to move on to the new narrative are still holding on to the old narrative. So we're all holding on in some way, shape, or form, which is what has made this a very psychological year. Another thing that I want to mention is that the celebrity or famous deaths that we have experienced. Now, a lot of people have died this year, of course, just like a lot of people died last year. Well, we have incredible, beautiful, gifted souls. All of us are, but we have beautiful, gifted souls that depart this earth every day that aren't well known, but they're well known in their communities. And a lot of times, those people, whether it's a grandmother or a great grandfather or whatever have you, and no one knows them but maybe just the local people in the town. Probably 3 or 4 generations down the road, that person may become a doctor and may even open up a doctor in that same town. And they may have been inspired by their predecessor. So that's how this works. So don't think that you don't matter, because you absolutely do matter. You may not have the influence in this life and know a lot of people or have a lot of people know you, and that's okay. You have had lifetimes where you were that person, and you will have lifetimes where you weren't. I guarantee you. A lot of people like to think that it would be great to be a millionaire, a billionaire, and it would be. But imagine if you were a billionaire for like 10 lifetimes in a row. Like, wouldn't that get, old for your spirit to continually experience that? And I guess you could experience it in different ways, which is probably how you would justify going into that experience. We all have our justifications, right? But the celebrity and famous deaths of this year have been especially impactful. They've been especially impactful. And not downplaying any of the celebrity and famous deaths of the past. I'm just saying that this year in particular, 2018, especially with Jupiter in Scorpio, you got to remember that, guys. You got to remember that Jupiter was in Scorpio. You know, they were especially impactful on pretty much the wide scope, from the youth all the way up to the elderly. They were very impactful because these people that died this year opened up incredible gates and incredible portals, and they're going to sort of act as this bridge of awareness and what they knew, and now they're going to be able to channel it into this realm, and other people are going to be able to pick up on it. You know, other people are going to be able to pick up on it, and then that's how we would kind of continue things and move things forward. Where do you think all these ideas come from? Where do you think this imagination comes from? It is ours, but at the same time, we have to realize that we are feeding our imagination into a collective imagination, into a collective dream. It's called Pisces, right? And you have the one fish and the two fish. The one fish is kind of like you in your world. Then the two fish is like everyone else in the other world, right? And you're trying to figure out, how can these two fish get along? How can they coexist together? They never seem to touch. They never seem to quite touch. They just swim around each other. So it's this beautiful game of being able to elude ourselves, to just be right there, but not quite get it. But that is what lends to innovation. That is what lends to the greatest developments. That's what lends to such great creativity and passion to pour out of this world. 2018 was a rough as shit year. Okay? But I believe that we all, no matter who you are listening to this, we all have done a phenomenal job this year. I don't care where you are at, status wise. Status can mean multiple things. Right? I don't care where you are status wise. You've done an incredible job. And you should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself. You should be enthralled. You should be happy. You should be full of joy. Next year is going to be a year of forgiveness. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out here. I'm trying to think back to a lot of the videos I've made. I know 2017, I think, was the year of taking off the mask. I can't remember what I said 2018 was going to be the year of. 2019, I feel like, is the year of ultimate forgiveness. And this is ultimate forgiveness because we have to make the decision to forgive ourselves. Just because you make a decision to do something does not necessarily mean that it's going to get done right at that moment. And I know that sounds probably far-fetched, and I know it probably doesn't even sound too integral. But it's like, there are certain things that we can decide on, but they do take time to develop. Like for me, I've decided that I'm going to become a vegetarian in 2019. Now, am I going to be perfect? No. Will I probably eat meat at some point? Probably. But I made the decision, and that's important. It's important to make the decision, because after you make the decision, you can't take action, right? And the more actions that you take in line with that decision, is going to actually allow you, with integrity, to manifest the desired outcome, and then you actually will become it. So 2018, guys, it's been a crazy year. It really has been, especially psychologically. But you gotta know, there is this incredible, this is that moment when words just don't suffice. There's this incredible gift that we all have received this year, and it has the feeling of Pandora's box, but it's different. It's like, instead of spilling all the ills into the world, it's like all the joy and love that you thought was sealed away, but was truly never forgotten. And that's what's spilling into the world right now. And 2019, I really feel like is still this probably the wrap up of this collective Dark Night of the Soul. Now, there will be challenges, of course, that we as a collective will face now in the future, and like we always have. And we will continue to face them together, like we always have and always will. And we made it, guys. We're here. Can you feel it? That the tide really is shifting now. It really is. And it is scary for all of us, even those of us who claim to be prepared, even for those of us who claim to walk this path or doing this healing work. It is scary. But what I'm seeing right now is kind of like looking at that boogeyman in the face and just smile. I'm seeing All Might, of course, from My Hero Academia. It doesn't have to be All Might, but it could be whatever it is for you. I just see us looking into the face of that boogeyman and just smiling, not laughing, just smiling. It's like a gentle smile, like, I got this. We got this. Yep, we got this.